What's popping in the streets, everybody? I believe, therefore I am King Siler. Hope you guys are doing all right today. What is this? It's about to be 4th of July weekend. It will be on Monday. But I hope you guys are having a good one. We're here with another event review, Boiling Point. Had a good time this weekend. Definitely had a great time. Boiling Point Experimental Dance Battle, hosted by Canvas and Summer. Shouts out to the judges, T-Suit, Valkyrie, and Lucid. And, of course, the Boiling Point's first champion, CC. Congratulations to you. Not new to the dance scene, but she's definitely a rookie when it comes to the freestyle scene, so hats off to you. It's always great to see new faces win and, of course, come out and support because that's what it's about. Ultimately, at the end of the day, it's propelling the movement forward. So definitely had a great time with that. But before we go ahead and get started, please make sure that you hit that subscribe button. Your boy is trying to get to 500 subscribers. Any particular topics that you want to go over, again, I'm a big anime fan. I love Marvel. I love Star Wars. I love battle rap. I love MMA. Obviously, I love dance and I love music. So if you definitely want to be a host on the show, by all means, hit me up. We'll definitely try and get you in here and stuff like that. There are a few people who are ahead of you if you do jump up and decide that you want to be on the show. But best believe we'll never shy away from that, and I'll definitely try my best to get you on the show. Obviously, this is a place where I want to hear people's stories. I want to ask them questions and what they think about the scene. So us communicating is very, very, very important. But let's go ahead and jump right into this. So again, Boiling Point, shouts out to the venue that supported us on premise. It's kind of like pretty sure it's a bar. I'm pretty sure that they probably have DJs and stuff like that, so it might kind of have like a club/bar kind of vibe. Definitely enjoyed it. It definitely gave me loft vibes. I used to live in downtown at American Beauty Mill Lofts, and I used to have just this big ass loft and stuff like that with concrete floors, so it definitely gave me those vibes. But it's in Deep Ellum. If you ever decide to go out to it, I love it. It was a great environment, old school and kind of rustic kind of feel to it, so I was feeling it big time. But let's just jump right into it. Just keep it simple, just kind of cut it down the line, with like pros and cons. Obviously, we're going to start with the pros first. So like I said, that was the first thing I did like. I did enjoy the venue. It was nice. The music, of course, Mr. Canvas. Shouts out to Canvas for breaking in his first DJ in his first event. Not the first time he's played music in front of a group of people before, but as far as like an actual event where battles or showcases or anything like that are being hosted, this is his first time doing it. So shouts out to Canvas for doing that. It's a big step forward, bro. Happy for you. But the vibes was definitely there. Nice, chill. Exactly set up for what it was for. And just kind of kept everybody moving forward. It was just nice. Like, it wasn't chill. And also saw a lot of new faces. I definitely always like seeing that. I can't remember who I said that to, but I think I said that to somebody. I was just like, there are a lot of faces here that I don't recognize, and there are also a lot of people that I do recognize, but I don't personally know on that level, which is great. Because again, the objective is to have the same amount of people who are new and are coming into the scene to be in every atmosphere and environment. That's the objective that I think that I want people to start pushing for. Is we need to have every circle, like, all right, if you're coming to an experimental dance battle, okay, we want those same people at, other jams and stuff like that. Or if you're coming to Battlegrounds, or you're coming to UMF, or you're coming to like the Bridge section, whatever the case may be, any of those things, we need to make sure that we're constantly shifting a massive group of people over to every environment, so that way we're not always just standing in one place waiting on the next thing. But yeah. And then, like I said, overall, I just felt like it was a great time. The atmosphere was definitely one for just simply dancing. Didn't necessarily give an atmosphere as far as like hardcore ciphering or anything like that, which it's not bad. It's not required. I understand that it is the norm, but it was definitely an environment to where it did kind of give a little bit of kickback vibes, and people were just simply there, kind of got them some drinks, chilled, dance on the side and stuff like that, which obviously I said was genuinely provided by Canvas, so it only attests even more as far as like him doing a good job behind the booth. So yeah. But those are some of the major pros for me. Again, like, the dancing is always going to be there, which is what I tell people, because there's always somebody going to be going through something. There's always somebody going to be having a good time. There's always somebody who's been labbing, or there's always somebody who's got a chip on the shoulder. And those are usually the the ingredients, to hardcore battles or a really great expressive movement. So, you know, so yeah. But those setting up the atmosphere as soon as you walk in, if the feeling's not there, then that is just the first step to disaster when it comes to throwing events. So I definitely appreciate that. First 10 seconds walking in there, and I was just like, okay, yeah, I fuck with this. So yeah, moving on to the cons. So we did, and this is not necessarily con as far as like for Canvas. We did have a small technical issue. I guess some Canvas's equipment unfortunately got wet. Somebody knocked over some stuff, and unfortunately his equipment was affected. From what I've been told, nothing is damaged permanently or anything like that. But it was a situation that I did tell him that it's always nice to see the new generation like come into the fold of as far as like having technical issues or something kind of goes wrong, and just simply watching how they adapt and stuff like that, because as y'all, the young generation, for people or people just in general who've never thrown any type of like real event to where it's just you and 4 people making sure that a group of 200 people are having a good time and everything's relying upon your shoulders, so you can't have any weak spots. You have to understand like what that pressure is like of like having to do that. So when something goes wrong, it's either like I'm gonna lose my shit or I'm gonna keep it going. So I definitely was really proud of him and welcome him into the fold as far as like event throwers or at the administration team. So happy for you, bro. Keep going, man. The problems are only gonna get worse, but the payoff is gonna get even greater. So good job to you, bro, and way to keep it together. So yeah. And just like small feedback, like I said, some of the cons and like small feedbacks are like nothing too extreme. I would definitely say to my bro, to the Canvas, I would definitely recommend, because the environment, in my personal opinion, was a lot more slower paced. I'd probably recommend whenever the people are preparing to go their rounds and stuff like that, kind of starting it a little bit closer to when like I guess like the beat drops and stuff like that, because there were a couple times to where some of the dancers kind of had a little bit of dead space versus some of the other dancers like actually had when the beat dropped. As dancers, of course, I understand that we're supposed to adapt at all times, but I do think it is important that, regardless, it is fair all the way across the board, and we are making sure that every dancer has a fair chance to get out there and dance. And obviously, if one person has lyrics, and a beat, and then one person just has a snare and dead space and no lyrics and stuff like that, that obviously presents favorable odds in the other person's favor, for them to win the battle. So I would just something to look for. And then I would say, like, although I did enjoy the venue, I did feel it was a little bit tight. Unfortunately, like I said, of course, as far as like, people kind of getting close to the DJ booth. I know a couple times I saw the security guard, the lady that was at the front, she was like telling people like to push up, don't block the entrance. I know that's a fire hazard and stuff like that. The last thing that I would want for a fire marshal to walk in and be like, all these people are going to have to shift or move or whatever the case may be. We had people posted up on the bar, but not actually drinking anything and stuff like that. So it just kind of like, I saw like certain small stuff that, I wouldn't want the business, to be like, all right, well, all y'all are in here for this dance event and stuff like that, but none of y'all are drinking, but you're taking up all my space, so on and so forth. And more so, there does just need to be a really decent amount of space for dancers to dance, because there was a lot of movement as far as the dancers, and I felt as though like they were kind of crunched together. And I know Haley had to make a couple announcements to, like, everybody back up and stuff like that. So that's just important. Spacing is important. I love the atmosphere, and I think that would have been it would have been great had obviously we not had to open, or sit people down and stuff like that, because you take up a lot more space when you're sitting down than when you are actually standing up. So yeah, that's just my thoughts as far as that. Now in regards to the I'll say this as well, since I was on the topic as far as like music just a moment ago. I'll be honest, I was even more I was expecting a little bit, I don't want to say weirder music, but I was definitely expecting more music that was kind of like far off the deep end. Because I do definitely think that the music, still presented an opportunity for them to find like a groove or to have like a particular tone, which they were dancing at. I do feel that it was kind of the same tone the entire night. People were being very conceptual. And like I said, the objective was to throw yourself or like, take risks and stuff like that. But it was just like, everybody kind of had like, one kind of pace the entire night. So my personal recommendation, which I always enjoy, throw a bone at people, throw them off balance. Like if you play weirder music, play really old neo soul that doesn't necessarily have like, a beat or something like that. It's just like, strong vocals or something like that, or Hudson Mohawk, edit music or something like that, stuff that like people can't just necessarily find a groove to and just kind of like pace their way through the rounds. So that was just me. So I would just say, a challenge for the DJs or any DJ, if you guys do this or the next DJ or somebody else does it, go weirder, go extreme. Hey, remix a My Chemical Romance song into something with a piano, or like, hey, go for it. I definitely like to see that. And then now in regards to the battles, I would definitely say the judging criteria was pretty steep. And not saying as far as like steep, I say steep as far as in terms of like, pretty much it was made apparent the entire night that the objective was to be different, take risks, get out of your comfort zone, really experiment. With that being said, I think the biggest thing as far as for me that I saw was a lack of execution and foundation. And obviously it's not to say that like, oh, okay, well, you're talking about traditional dance. No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying like, oh, Mr. All Boogaloo here has to come in here, or Mr. All Crump or Mr. All Breaker has to do in that. Because if I'm not mistaken, the only one that we saw that was a full-blown traditionalist, like V's not, but was Sister Soul. Like Sister Soul is very proficient at obviously a crump, but I think she was the only like full-blown, 90% of the time I'm crumping, which she was the only one that made it through. So it definitely wasn't set up like that. But I think it was like, in terms of like, because it was set up as far as like, oh, take risk and stuff like that, I saw people, throw certain things to the wind. Like it was like, oh, execution, nah. My waves don't have to be clean, battle, like it was just completely, thrown out of the window. And I know the judges like, they set it up there like, hey, looking for you to, try something different and stuff like that. And I even saw a couple of battles to where it was like, okay, all right, so battling is not the end all be all here, in which case it is usually in most styles of or most freestyle jams and stuff like that. So I definitely saw that. So I felt as though it was kind of like, as I was watching, I was like, okay, this has a potential to be really good, but also at the same time, not bad. But I think that it could potentially put a lot of pressure under the judge, because we saw a lot of calls that it was just like, that's a tough one. Like, how do I really judge this if we're trying not to judge them by a traditional criteria in which we see in most of the jams and stuff like that? And I only say that because obviously you don't want to have those conversations where people are, if you get some other traditional dancers and stuff like that that come and do this, and it's just like, oh, I was on beat, my 6-step was great and stuff like that, and I was creative as well. I was killing it, but this person comes along and they do something just really drastic, or they just throw themselves on the ground and, they have a hype moment. It's like, all right, well, you set up for it to be like, oh, get out of your comfort zone. But also at the same time, this person executed better. And the only reason why I'll circle that up, and again, is at the end of the day, these are still battles. If it's not, then my personal opinion, I think I would probably, make it abundantly clear, if the judges speak to say like, hey, I'm not too concerned about you battling. It can be much more of like, I guess like a showcase environment versus, like, oh, I'm battling you. So just, again, something to think about, because like I said, watching that, I was just like, if I was in the judge's shoes and stuff like that, and we had those typical people who complain, or ask questions about battling and stuff like that, how would I properly formulate a criteria in my mind for how I judge this particular battle? again, it's just food for thought. So I think one thing that I was definitely seeing, and like I was kind of going back to more so the dancer, is that I just saw a lot of people, if I'm being honest, like a lot of them just, they either went to waves or they just kind of went to the ground. It was just kind of like, this was and obviously this is the first time, so, I'm not going to be, too crazy with it, but it was just like, I definitely, for sure, would have liked to see some different stuff from people, because some people, tried some different stuff, but it kind of lacked a lot of execution, and some people just stuck to their comfort zones, and like I said, I did see a lot of new faces, which I enjoyed. Some people I didn't even know danced, and I was just like, oh, okay, you got it like that. So this is definitely dope to watch. So I'd say, yeah, I would say that overall, kind of looking at it, that I think the theme is great. It has a lot of potential, and I think that's I think for sure, like what's to be expected as far as for this event. I do personally believe that probably having a much more intimate and closed off environment would probably, a much more intimate and closed off environment would probably be better in the long run. So that way you're not having to worry about, necessarily, I guess, like time frames and stuff like that. I understand being in downtown presents a great environment. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not happy about having to pay. That was $16 down the drain for parking. But I didn't want to be late because obviously I wanted to watch. But I definitely think like if the dancers are, I think if the dancers, given, like I said, with the theme, it's a very, very, very slow atmosphere. And it's a very kind of like it's okay, I don't want people to get triggered, but it is a very, slow pace, like, kind of showcase kind of an atmosphere. So when doing that, I think it's important that it's like, all right, the dancers don't have to worry about crowd, or we're not necessarily having to worry about, too much time or anything like that, because I know it's entirely different from us being in the studio versus being in an actual bar. So I'd say that the theme of it, like I said, is great. I also think that maybe longer rounds would genuinely be better. Maybe instead of like having to do, I think we only did 2 rounds towards the final 4 or something like that. I only say that because it definitely seemed like, because it's not a hardcore battle environment, it took the dancers a little bit more time to kind of like, snap into that pocket. And some of the tracks obviously were much slower. They had to build up and stuff like that, or even you had to build the moment around it. So I get it as far as like, us being on like, 45 seconds and stuff like that. But I guess maybe like prelims, 45 seconds for this round, and then each battle all the way up until the finals is only 1 round, but you got 60 seconds. You know what I'm saying? I think it just gives the judges much more to work with. And then also it just makes it more apparent that the dancer has time to build a real round. Because some of the rounds that I was watching, and it was just like, all right, this person's kind of building the moment for about 15 seconds. You actually dance for like another 15 or 20, and then boom, you got like another 10 or 15 seconds left, and then Summer's counting down. It's just like, I felt like it was just a tad bit rushed for the theme of the event, which, if we want to be honest, what's looming over it is kind of like, is the notion of like, underlying notion of like, hey, take your time and create something. So overall, I thought it was a really good event. I enjoyed myself. It was absolutely different and a change of pace. And from what I was seeing, it was all smiles and people were having a good time. So shouts out to the entire Boiling Point cast, the entire Boiling Point team for doing a great job. Definitely, for sure. Definitely want to see another one of these. And I think it, like I said, it has a lot of potential. Let's just make sure that, again, everybody, we're not always just sticking to one event. Let's help, create other environments where everybody else feels comfortable to exist in as well. I love the turnout, and I look forward to the next one. So that's all I got. Appreciate y'all rocking with me. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Follow me on IG. It's right there for you. Peace. Have a great day. Take care.